Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome for the second of the ones and twos. Basically, when I say second, I mean basically the second part of the ones and twos for this month of March, where we're discussing the theme of green, basically, and ended up being basically all animated films for the singles and the ones and twos. And for the ones and twos, basically, we're talking the first two Shrek films. And obviously, we're talking the second one, Shrek 2, this evening, where in the natural progression of Shrek's story, he's met and fallen in love and married the princess in the first one. So what would be the next logical step? Meeting the in-laws. And by meeting the in-law, and as from meeting the in-laws, you basically meeting a new villain, essentially. And we'll get into that once we go into the characters. We're not really going to talk about Shrek and Fiona and Donkey again, because we talked about those characters for the first movie, and they're pretty much the same. In the second, basically in this one, as they were in the first one. But there's an addition of 5 new characters that have a fairly big presence in this movie. Her parents, obviously, because Shrek is going to be meeting the in-laws. The king and queen of Far, Far Away, aka essentially medieval Hollywood. And basically, King voiced by John Cleese, Queen voiced by Julie Andrews, and the fairy godmother voiced by Jennifer Saunders, and Prince Charming, literally Prince Charming, it's basically getting the play on the fairy tale name, voiced by Rupert Everett. And to round out the new cast of characters, quickly became a fan favorite since its introduction, and that is Puss in Boots, voiced by Antonio Banderas. So, before we get into discussing this movie, Orange Hat, let everybody know we're all about you, where they can find you, and all that fun stuff, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'm an Aquarius. No, just kidding. Yeah. Well, actually, I am, but you can find me on my channel, Orange Hat, where I'm covering a lot of Rachel Zegler stuff. I'm doing a video right after this stream, probably for the late night release. Also got let's see here. Tonight's Wednesday, so no uncensored on Friday, but the weekly recap on Sunday will be happening. It's the only time me and Mara actually compete streams. Tuesday themes are in flux right now, folks. April chaos, basically. Let's see here. But I will be testing the waters with Restream, so I can figure that out. I'm pretty quick at that. But yeah, other than that, I do live streams. I do videos as often as I can on Hollywood Controversy. And you can find me on X at OrangeHat2185 and OrangeHat Revived. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I'm on Facebook, but barely do anything over there.
So yeah, well, I can't even remember the last time I was on Facebook. But there it is. But yeah, so obviously you can find me here, and I'll go into more for my outro. But I primarily focus on streams on YouTube, and gaming streams on my Kick and Twitch. Kick is at least the Restream. The Kick chat is essentially broken. I have no idea what happened. What I'm going to try to do tomorrow is disconnect and then reconnect my Kick on Restream to see if that helps. But I don't know. Ever since the DDoS attack on Kick, it kind of screwed up other things that use that streaming platform. So we'll see. But I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow. Just because my schedule is a little wonky, but I'm really hoping to stream Friday evening, and then maybe an afternoon gaming stream Saturday, and then a watch party. I'm planning on doing a watch party Saturday evening for Snow White: A Tale of Terror, to kind of as a palate cleanser, shall we say, as a palate cleanser to the Disney live action Snow White that came out.
was about to
recently.
say, don't you dare freaking do a watch party on the new one.
No,
Don't scare me like that, woman.
no, Snow White: A Tale of Terror. Like, if you want to watch a Snow White movie with a twist, basically a twist on the fairy tale, that's the one I keep recommending to people. Like, watch that one, basically. So we'll that's the plan, basically, is a palate cleanser, and then Talk Nerdy to Us will be on my channel this coming Sunday. But that's neither here nor there. For right now, we're talking Shrek 2. As I said, I'm going to say hello to the chat from the top. I see Trey Courtney. The Spider-Man joke is so hilarious. So, I love how the humor in the first 3 Shrek movies in particular, the humor is such that there's humor in there that children will find funny, and there's humor within it that adults will find funny. Like, when you're watching as a kid, you're like, what exactly does that joke mean? But then you watch it as an adult, so it's like it has an enjoyability going from when you're younger to when you're an adult, because it doesn't dumb down for children, nor does it insult the intelligence of adults. It's what I appreciate. So Gravy D, hello, Mike Hill. Yes, the cops one. That's one of the best scenes in this movie. Like when they find catnip on Puss in Boots, and we'll talk about that. But that was kids aren't going to get it watching this. Like, young kids aren't going to get this. But adults will. Adults will laugh because of what it's a play on. Prince Charming, I think, was he's decent as a villain. He even worked as a villain in the third one. I don't think the third one is as good as the first 2, but he still relatively worked as a villain in the third one. Cronroy, hello. Soul Assassin, what is up? Rarely sequels are as good as the original film. This one, in some parts, beats the original Shrek. I still give the edge to the first Shrek movie, but this one is a very solid sequel. Yes. Very solid sequel. It is very close to the first one. Like, when I say edges, I mean just barely edges. For me, I think I like the music more than the first one, so that's where it kind of edges it for me. But I kind of like the simplicity of the story. But Shrek 2 is, I think, for me, what makes Shrek 2 is the voice work of Jennifer Saunders. Because I love her in Absolutely Fabulous. So when I saw that she was voicing the fairy godmother in this, I knew her from that role in I knew her from the role in Absolutely Fabulous. So I knew her and what she could bring to the role. So I love her. And I love Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Trey to watch Snow White: A Tale of Terror. So basically, yeah, he's a villain role in 3. The fairy godmother is the primary villain in the second one. But Prince Charming was a decent villain. Yeah. He is an entitled brat, basically, which is why I think the fairy godmother worked better as a villain. But Prince Charming was a decent one. Leagues better than fucking Rumpelstiltskin in the fourth one. Yeah. Xavier, hello. And Abomination. Yeah, I think she actually sang that song.
Yep.
She is criminally underrated as an actress. I
honestly think the second one, due to my own personal bias, because I am a huge fan of the Puss in Boots. I loved the live action movie they had way back when. So I kind of edged the second one over the first one. So me and you are kind of mirror opposites on that.
A little bit.
But yeah, when I heard that Puss in Boots was going to be in this movie when it was being marketed, I'm like, whatever no joke, I canceled a doctor's appointment that day to go to the theaters instead.
Hey, whatever works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
But so share screen. So So
It's like 8
once it
minutes.
decides to load, yeah. So we basically get like the Shrek 1 and 2 are the only ones in the series basically that start out with the book, the fairy tale book. And this goes into, and this one, instead of it being narrated by Shrek, it's narrated by, we don't know exactly who's doing the narration until we see, like basically when the movie actually starts, that's being narrated by Prince Charming. And we're finding out that, part of the reason, was like the fact that Fiona changed into an ogre at night, while it was a primary reason, it wasn't the only reason the parents decided to lock her away in the tower. No, they went on the advice of the fairy godmother, because why would she lie? What other motive could she have than to help them help their daughter, basically? We'll get into her little ulterior motive a bit later, basically, because she is the villain. She is the villain of the movie. But we find out she was the one that suggested, "Hey, lock her up in this tower," and so wait till she's rescued, basically. And that's what. And the parents did that.
Why? I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, Fairy Godmother was the one who actually put the curse on Fiona.
Well, it's never really explicitly.
It's never stated.
It is strongly implied that she did. It is
yeah. I'm going by audio commentaries that I remember watching when I was, or when I owned the DVDs and whatnot. Well, my aunt owned the DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Short of audio commentary, the movie itself doesn't exactly explicitly state it.
No,
but you can read into chances, it's like in the dialogue, she had something to do with it. Like it wasn't just it just like happenstance a witch cursed Fiona. No, because she had the ulterior motive.
Yeah.
It's like
Mike Hill.
2 + 2 = 4, essentially.
The wolf get to the castle. There's magic around the big bad, or the gender confused wolf. What's her name, or what's his name? There's magic about that character that if there's a bed in a place, they can appear, or he can appear there.
Yeah, he's just called the big bad wolf because he's the big bad wolf from other fairy tale. Yeah. So he's not really given a name. Hey, Metal Mania, hello. So yeah.
Why
so it's
such a far away place, though? Are you asking about Fiona's castle with the dragon?
I think he's asking about the castle, because you kind of that's something where it's like to suggest one, basically you kind of want to hide that, the parents want to hide that little fact, as it's new, the fact that she changed into an ogre, so she's close by, people can see. We'll be able to go there, basically. So you want someone where it's like it'd be a trek.
Yeah, it'd be a quest.
Yeah,
you'd have to show that you are willing to take that quest and to travel that distance. I mean, who wouldn't for somebody, or for the possibility of finding love?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically how I always saw it.
And like I said, come on, Peacock, you pieces of shit. So. Again, I'm going to play this a little bit, because we find out that Prince Charming is the one who is narrating the beginning. Yeah. So, since he's the first new character we're introduced to, essentially, and we get more introduction to him when a little bit later on, what did you think of Prince Charming?
Well, like I told you behind the scene, or before we got the stream started, when I saw this movie, I thought it was Sean Bean, and it was basically a transsexual Sean Bean. Back then, folks, transgender wasn't really a word, so transsexual was, and I'm like, why is there transsexual Sean Bean? And one of my aunts got a huge kick out of that when I first said that, and it's like, this dude is like pure woman.
Well, he is very effeminate. I love how Rupert Everett plays him. He is very feminine. He even has a hairnet on under his helmet to keep his perfectly brushed. Yeah,
he has a freaking hairnet.
He's wearing a hairnet.
And I'm thinking to myself, dude, no. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Fiona would actually live with the curse and want to be with you. But yeah, oh my God, this dude just I radiated hatred whenever I saw him on the screen, which only actually proves the quality of how the people made this character, because this is a character you want to hate and you love to hate.
Yeah.
So that just shows how well they made the character and how well Rupert Everett provided a voice to the character, because you really can't help but hate him.
Hey Kay, good to see you. Yes, I think like that's why he also works as a villain in the third one. Like I said, I don't think he works quite as well as the fairy godmother, but because like you said, like you love to hate him, like he's like not a he's not a likable character in the sense that you're not supposed to like him basically, but you love to hate him. Like he still works as a villain for the third movie. So like he comes up to the gossamer curtains, pulls them back, and he's expecting to see Fiona. And it's like Trey, like kind of like points out, like I always assumed because they know exactly where the tower is at. I could see that's another reason why the fairy godmother would suggest that place, because they know exactly where it's at, and she is like purposely putting her like Fiona there. So, and spoiler alert, chat, Prince Charming is fairy godmother's son. How that works out, I don't know. But I mean, considering like she has wings, he doesn't. I'm wondering who the father was, how she created him, essentially. So it's like how that works out.
Due to the fact that this is Shrek related, and I just found this out today, there was a published theory that Snow White is Lord Farquaad's mom. It's a dead theory. It's purely dead because of the first movie. But Lord Farquaad is Snow White's son, because of Rachel Zegler's hairdo from from her movie. And I'm like, that just doesn't work, and that's just disgusting. I don't ever want to hear a theory like that again.
No.
But yeah, it's like Shrek 1 kind of truly destroys that, because why would the magic mirror want to set him up to marry his own mother?
Yeah, it doesn't work. No.
That
and the fact that she looks younger, like you see Snow White in the third one, she looks younger than Lord Farquaad ever did. So there's like no way it would work, basically.
Hey, Hound, good to see you.
Yeah, like it's again, like I don't know how, like it's like he's her son. I don't exactly know. He doesn't have any magic. She has wings. He doesn't. It's like, hello, Hound, good to see you. But anyway, so like like he sees the wolf. Or the gender confused wolf, as the fairy godmother calls him.
That is so relevant.
That's why I love Jennifer Saunders. Like, what does he find? It's some gender confused wolf telling him his princess is already married.
Yep. Pork Illustrated.
But I love Rupert Everett. Like Rupert Everett, I think is like slightly underrated actor.
Oh, yeah.
Because he does smarmy very well. Like he plays other roles well, but when like it comes to like smarminess, he does have that certain je ne sais quoi about him. It's like he wasn't like he's almost born to play smarmy characters. So he works as Prince Charming. Like you could tell that he had fun with it, and he nails. Oh, yeah. He nails. He nails the. I don't think effeminacy is like an actual word, basically, but like the effeminate nature of Prince Charming, as well as he's almost like he literally is a man baby, pretty much. I don't exactly like using that term, but he pretty much is a man baby because he is a mommy's boy.
Brat. Yeah, he's a spoiled brat, mama's boy.
He's a spoiled brat, and he's a mama's boy.
Yeah. And
again, you love to hate him. I think it's like mainly because of the fact that like Rupert Everett does such a good job. I don't think if Rupert Everett if he did a good job, then people would remember Prince Charming as well. He literally is coddled.
Yep.
He's very much coddled. I think so. Was he in?
Rupert Everett in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Hold on, let me see.
I think so. Yes, he was the fox, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Let me just double check. I remember because he wasn't like a character. When I say he wasn't a character, I mean it was like wasn't a human character that I remember.
I believe he was the fox that got turned to stone.
Let's see.
Poor bastard.
Oh, come on.
I mean, so while she's doing it, folks, this is basically a character, or this is basically a person who gets Happy Meals in his 20s.
Rupert Everett, Mr. Fox. Poor Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Liam Neeson did Aslan, Ray Winstone,
Yep.
Dawn French. Oh, I forgot she was a voice. She worked a lot with Jennifer Saunders.
Wait, who was what?
Dawn French, the actress Dawn French. She worked a lot with Jennifer Saunders, and like,
Oh,
British
nice.
series and things like that. So I forgot she did a voice. She was Mrs. Beaver. Yeah, but Rupert Everett was
nice,
Mr.
yeah.
Fox in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, but anyway, so that's the first new character we're introduced to. And again, like I said, I love. Oh, and here's the Spider-Man reference. Hold on, where is it?
Yeah.
So just a little role reversal kind of a situation, because Fiona's more the fighter than Shrek. But they're on their honeymoon. They return, and Donkey's claiming to have taken care of the abode, basically, which includes sorting the mail and feeding the fish. How Donkey got fish, I don't know, but they're dead.
Yeah.
And he called one Shrek and one Fiona.
You want to know what's funny? During the beginning of this, there's a part where Ariel from Little Mermaid is kissing on Shrek, and she tosses him into the water. And people are laughing too much at that point to notice that when she hits the water, two great white sharks come up after her.
Oh, I saw that.
Not only that, somebody did a re-edit. I can't remember where I saw it, but
this is the Lord of the Rings one. Illusion.
Yep. Somebody did a re-edit of that scene with the Ariel and actually put the black Ariel from Halle Bailey. Yeah, somebody did that, and it's like, oh my god, I could not stop laughing that day because
I have to run my dog out real fast. I do apologize. So it's
right.
I'm gonna entertain the chat. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is the Lord of the Rings reference, and when the ring is on, it's like the text comes out like "I love you," kind of like how it becomes visible in the Lord of the Rings movies. Yes, I had to run my dog out, and then we'll get into meeting the parents.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, folks, I wish I knew where I saw that, but I think it was YouTube. I mean, I'm pretty sure Soul Assassin will go on a deep dive for that. But yeah, somebody re-edited it to where it was Halle Bailey or Halle Bailey's Ariel that was kissing on Shrek and got eaten by sharks. When the studios had real creators, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. These movies, their animation still holds up. And I saw a recent trailer for Shrek 5. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch that trailer because I could have sworn I saw the older animation in the movie of Shrek in like a photo or something. So I might have to retract my statements earlier on the different studio animations. But yeah. Oh yeah, most DreamWorks animations hold. Oh, definitely do. They do, Trey. But yep. Yeah. Second one tends to be better. I could name some examples. The trailer animation almost didn't look complete. I mean, it might not be complete. That's the whole thing, folks. Now, obviously, unfortunately, they did Shark Tale after this too. Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen. Oh my god, it's to the point where I can't even remember some movies. And I used to have a film eidetic memory, but when it comes to movies or some movies, I can't remember shit. I pretty much block it out. I think Shark Tale wasn't that the one with Will Smith and underwater car wash for whales and stuff. I think it was. But yeah, I also can't even remember most of what Shrek the Third was about. I mean, the fact that when Mara said it was Prince Charming was the villain, I'm like, wait, what? I actually forgot about that, which was insane. I usually don't forget about stuff like that. I forgot Shrek 2 came out around the Rings trilogy. Yep. Which is funny. I actually got done watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy yesterday and today. So yeah. They did How to and I still don't believe I still do not believe they needed to do a new live action version. However, I will say that the animation does look decent for the live action. I don't agree with everything they have done, but I will not support it in theaters. But yeah, I do think that the animation is actually translated well into live action. However, the animation, that is, not the characters. The characters look god awful. But yeah, the dragon animations, I thought they look actually pretty damn well in live action translation. But I don't know, man. I prefer the trilogy that that DreamWorks did. They never need to make a live action version of an animated movie. No, they don't, especially one which trilogy ended 6 years ago. Shrek 2 was a blessing for the parents then who were getting sick of Finding Nemo merch. Yes! Oh my god. Finding Nemo. That I remember how annoying that shit got. In my mind, there's no Shrek 4. I remember Shrek 4 more than I remember Shrek 3. And that's saying something. I have to I'm most likely going to watch Shrek 3 tomorrow, folks, because it's like I am blanking on Shrek 3 right now, except for the fact that now I know Prince Charming is the villain in it. And it's just, oh my God, have I not watched these movies enough to remember these things? But then again, how many of you are aware of the Far, Far Away Idol special feature to Shrek 2? Where Simon, what's his name, does Far, Far Away Idol with the rest of them. And who also remembers the animated menus for DVDs, specifically Shrek 2, because it was more of a, they did a, what was it? Brady Bunch animated too. It's like Shrek 2? Why don't they call it Shrek 2, The Donkey's Revenge, or Shrek 2, The Real Jackass Movie? How about Shrek 2? Dude, where's my donkey? Oh my God, it was so freaking great. I remember those old menus. Yeah, right? I mean, it's just, there was so much that they did back then with DVD and Blu-ray menus. They were so animated and interactive. Oh my God, I missed the Star Wars DVD interactive menus because holy crap, those were the shit back then. Nowadays, oh God, man. Jurassic Park 3 menu had an animated velociraptor screeching at you. Yep. I remember that one.
Oh yeah. We had the well, we should still have it somewhere, but
Yeah.
the DVD for Shrek 2. And yeah, the interactive, I remember the interactive menus because you could as part of the special features, there was a
Far, Far Away Idol.
Far, Far Away Idol.
Yep.
And you had Simon as a judge and the different performances, and you could pick who won. So you could choose basically because they had them stand on the stage, and you could pick, like, select on, like, with your controller whom you would have, like, pick as a winner.
And if you picked like Prince Charming or Captain Hook, you got a surprise because
Yeah.
Simon wouldn't allow those ones to win.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Yeah,
He's
because
like, and the winner is me.
Yeah, I tried the one time. Yeah, I tried the one time with like I think Captain Hook or something like that.
Yeah.
And like he's like, winner is me.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't let
And
you.
then he sings "My Way."
Yeah.
From Frank Sinatra.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I miss that. I miss that. That's why I
The
love
real jackass movie. Shrek 2, the real Jack or Donkey's Revenge. How about Shrek 2? This donkey, or he was constantly doing donkey references to movies.
Mhm.
Oh, Hawaii
I just wanna point
5-0
this out.
Reggie.
I just like I want to point this out because I love how this is how they find out. This is the invitation basically. It's not so much an invitation. It's like literally an announcement.
Yeah, a summons.
And I love when he smacks the wine and goes, enough, Reggie.
Yeah, because he's doing Hawaii 5-0.
Yes. So basically Shrek and Fiona are summoned to the castle basically to meet the parents because word has gotten out that Fiona has been saved. Not so much word has gotten out that she's not human anymore, but that she's been saved and she's married.
Yep.
So, see, the thing is, like, this is where you have to suspend disbelief, basically. A little bit, just a little bit, yeah. Like, I don't know how they would know where they were, but like, I'm willing to suspend that disbelief. I'm willing to like basically just like accept that.
Yeah.
Because in the scheme of things, it's not egregious. Basically, it's more like,
Okay,
it's probably a plausible. Yeah, they knew where they were, basically. Yeah. Unlike the third movie, where I'm like, two things don't quite make sense to me. You're playing fast and loose with the suspension of disbelief a little bit within the storytelling. It's still better than Shrek Forever After, but you're like playing a little fast and loose with that, in my opinion.
I have to rewatch the third one because while you were gone, I was explaining this. I can't remember the third movie to save my life.
Well, they're all three on Peacock, so I think even the fourth one. But if you have Peacock, they're all three. So
yeah, I'm gonna check out the third one.
Yeah. So
wait, wasn't the third one where they were basically taking over because the father dies?
The father does die. The villains try to take over because Shrek is left to go get Arthur.
Now I'm remembering.
Shrek is technically the next in line, but he doesn't want to be king because.
Yep.
To be fair to Shrek, he would not be a good king.
Well, no, so he was having his major domo freaking scratch his ass on stage. So.
I know. I'm saying it's like he basically like he finds out there's another heir out there.
Yeah.
And what kind of dog? She's a pit bull lab mix. She's my little. This dog. All right, my dog's name is Wendy. On one hand, she's a doofus. And on the other hand, she's too smart for her own good. When I was training her when I was housebreaking her, basically, what I did was I put a like jingle bell type bells and hung them from the doorknob, basically. So, and I taught her if you have to go outside, hit nudge the bells, get them to ring, and that tell me that she has to go outside. Okay, which worked. Eventually got her house broken. So she learned to go outside. However, this dog fucking realized, hey, if I ring the bell, she's going to take me outside. Doesn't matter if I have to go or not. If I just want to go out and sniff the yard or whatever, he's going to take me outside. This dog learned that. That's why I said she's too smart for her own good sometimes.
She learned how to abuse her power.
Yes,
you gave her power, and she abused it.
Yes, yes. She did not learn with great power comes great responsibility. She decided, I want to go outside and sniff the tree.
Well, she's not Spider Dog. What do you expect?
I know.
Name her Wendy, not Petra Parker.
And Velociraptor smart. Yeah, she's she's smart. Yeah. Kind of backfired on me a little bit, but yeah, she's smart. And I said she's a doofus a little bit. So, but she's my baby, and she's an old girl, so I give her a pass. And so she has to go outside. Anyway, so they're summoned to the castle. I'm gonna get a shot of the
We
king
get
and
the
queen.
long-
All right, so these are the other two, two more new characters we were introduced to in this movie. King, voiced by John Cleese, and the Queen, voiced by Julie Andrews. Both, I think, do a very good job. Julie Andrews, well, when I say she's Julie Andrews, I mean, it's like she's the calmer of the two. And it's like naturally calmer of the two. Especially when Julie Andrews got older, she became calmer. If you see her in her younger roles, she's a little bit more feisty. But as she got older, she tended to take more calmer roles. So she's the Queen is the more sensible one. She's the level-headed one. John Cleese, when I say he's more animated, he's more emotional. He's a bit more emotional, and he's the one who just about outright rejects Shrek. And in my opinion, after after watching the movie and thinking about the characters, so it's not out of hatred. He doesn't like the fact that Fiona married Shrek, but it's not out of hatred that he rejects Shrek. It's out of prejudice, right? Because Shrek is an ogre, so there's a little bit of prejudice there when it comes to the king's views about. Well, I said Mary Poppins is one of her younger roles, but I said if you look at her older roles, like the Queen and Princess Diaries, she's a bit calmer in how she delivers her lines, basically.
You want to know why? It's because the movies are the same year. She basically, Princess Diaries 2 and Shrek 2 are the same year. So it's like, well, she didn't have to get out of character at all.
No. So
makes sense.
From my opinion about the king, it's out of a bit a bit of prejudice because Shrek is an ogre. So there's a prejudice there and fear. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say fear is because we find out later the reason why the king is a little apprehensive of the fact that Fiona did not come back with Prince Charming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my feelings for the king's reaction to Shrek. So
mine are a bit different. I mean, yes, there is a bias. Prejudice, however, it's not so much prejudice. It is an overabundance of fear that he uses or that he masks with prejudice.
Well, possibly.
Because he is afraid his daughter is going to go down the same path, unfortunately, in life that he had to. Because there's a secret about him that that comes out later, folks.
Yeah.
And so he's like, he doesn't want that life for his daughter to be basically ingrained into the fairy tale life.
He didn't exactly show prejudice towards. Well, he didn't outright show prejudice towards his daughter. But when he's who he says, ooh, when he's walking towards him, he does even say, "That's not our little girl. That's a big problem."
Yeah.
So there is a little bit. There's a little bit. It's out of fear, but there is just a little bit because again, he's expecting her to return as a human.
Mm-hmm.
And what steps out of the carriage are two ogres.
Yeah.
So why? Basically, to him, it's the spell is not broken. What the hell happened? Because for the parents to break the spell, basically would mean she would return as they left her, essentially, as a human, or in her human form, I should say. But as fate would have it, Shrek is the one who rescued Fiona. So it doesn't matter that it was for Lord Farquaad or not. Shrek was the one who rescued her. Shrek was the one she fell in love with, and hence, because of that, and sharing true love's kiss in ogre form, she is now pretty much fully an ogre.
Yeah.
So while he didn't outright show that towards his daughter, there is his reactions, when he says that's a big problem, a little bit there even towards his own daughter, just a little bit. He doesn't.
Now that I think about it, there is a scene where she comes up in her ogre form, and he literally runs off while she's talking to her mom.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he literally makes an excuse just to get away.
A little bit.
What is this? that's the dog's food, sir. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, wow. That's just a monumental.
I think a
fuck
little
up.
bit of that is. I think a little bit that was mainly an avoidance because he knew that his daughter was going to ask where Shrek was at that point, and he didn't want to.
Probably, yeah.
He didn't want to. He didn't want to be confronted with that.
He's terrible at bluffing, basically.
Yeah, so he basically is terrible at bluffing. You know, it's like
Yeah.
deep down he loves his daughter. He's just more upset at the fact that the the curse in his mind wasn't broken.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, not like the curse is broken, but not in the way he wanted it. Not in the way that it should have happened, because
Yeah.
of what we find out later, and that is like why he's scared of the fairy godmother.
Yep.
And I love how, like, when you meet the fairy godmother. Oh, this is I want to talk about this in here because it's like this whole dinner scene is my favorite. When they're going
Right.
back and forth, Shrek and the king are going back and forth. And the one chef comes out and goes, "Bon appetit," and Donkey's like, "Mexican food, my favorite."
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think I love this dynamic amongst the characters. It goes to the writing in this movie. We're like, this is how you do a good sequel, because I think basically the first movie is essentially the book, because the book itself is not long. So basically, like, this is how you take. While I don't if it's based on one book, it technically should be one movie essentially. But this in a way is how you take the story from the first one, and you do it justice by putting out what would naturally be a sequel. So, again, I keep saying natural progression. It is natural progression in Shrek's story. You go from rescuing the princess, falling in love with her, and marrying her in the first one, or technically first one and the second one, basically, and then meeting the in-laws. That would be the next natural step in the process. And then we jump forward to the third one. Next natural step in a way is Shrek becoming father himself.
Yeah, these movies did a great job at keeping it progressively smart, so to speak.
Yeah. So it's, well, like I said, while I am of the belief that if it is one book, it essentially should just be one movie, because at that point it becomes fan fiction, as my general belief, and that's mainly stems from what Hollywood has become. Because back when Shrek and Shrek 2 came out, it was like 2001 and then 2004. We hadn't yet seen the basically complete downfall of Hollywood in terms of identity politics and agenda-driven narratives, pretty much. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like, if Hollywood announces that it's doing a sequel to something like like Trey points out, Shogun 2, when that would be pure fan fiction, because there's only the adaptation. The season 1 is the only thing is adapting the actual source.
Well,
can we trust Hollywood?
Did the source finish out with what's his name becoming Shogun?
I thought it did. I thought it was
Then there is room for a season 2, because he didn't ascend to Shogun.
I don't know.
Yet.
I don't know. But even with room for season 2, it'd be like when Game of Thrones ran out of material to adapt, and it was left to the writer.
They're gonna need filler, obviously.
That's why I'm apprehensive, pretty much, because while there might be a little bit more story to tell, is it enough for a whole second season?
Yeah, and that's why. Or the thing is with Shogun, I am actually confident they won't go woke, because Hiroyuki Sanada already warned them.
Mm-hmm.
You push anything, all of us walk.
This is the only reason I don't have a lot of apprehension, because you do not mess with Japanese culture in his presence. Like you do not fuck with anything dealing with samurai, Japanese culture, or history, or anything in his presence.
Yeah, he's their leading go-to when it comes to Japanese culture, samurai history,
Yeah.
anything. If you're doing a movie with any sort of Japanese culture, you freaking hire Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah. So
But yeah, getting back to this.
yeah, he's the only reason I would trust it. But at the same time, it's like, again, would they have enough story for a second season? Is where that apprehension would be. Like I said, I love the scene and how it just ends with, Shrek, Fiona, Harold, Donkey,
Honey, Lillian, Donkey. I love that.
A martial arts stream. What do you mean by martial arts stream? Do you mean like talking martial arts?
Like martial arts movies?
Or martial arts movies? I mean,
well,
the only martial arts the only really real martial arts I can talk about is judo. I did take Aikido, but I only made it to green belt.
I mean, I could talk a little bit about Shotokan and Seita Shidoru. I mean, that's where I basically learned.
So, yeah, Assassin's Creed should have hired him, but then you can't have a black samurai.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Talking martial arts. Okay, well, maybe at some point down the road, just because schedule wise, I'm pretty slammed as far as like streaming most days. So we'll see. We'll see. What the hell? Oh, fucking hell. I love this.
Not Mortal Kombat.
I pulled the tab out. Okay, there it is.
That'd be a challenge for you. Well, that's more Stegen Mara's shtick with the top 10 stuff.
Oh yeah, top 10. I'd have to go and like make sure I even how many martial arts movies I've actually seen that I remember.
What are you guys on? Like 1998?
Yeah, we're on 1998 now. Which, by the way, like that should be next Wednesday. Because we do the top 10 first, because Stig is in Norway, basically, so it's easier for us to get that stream out of the way. Judo champion, yeah. So I can talk. Like I said, I can talk judo, but in terms of like other martial arts, I can't profess any like knowledge of like much of anything except Aikido, and that even then I only made it to green belt. I do want to visit Japan at some point. I would love to visit Japan because the Kodokan is there. And that is basically I would like describe it as like the elite judo school, judo dojo. Like you train at the Kodokan, you are pretty much prime. So judo stream then. Well, like I said, we'll
Conroy, see. You're hilarious.
So we'll see. I also want to visit. There's an island. I can't remember which island it is, basically, but you can zip line into Godzilla's mouth.
Now you're making me have to save up money just to go to Japan.
Yeah, I'm saying it's like so. Like I saw reels of that on Instagram. You can look up reel on Instagram. It is so cool. Basically, you can zip line into his mouth as part of like this attraction, and then like there's like stores dedicated. There's a hotel I think dedicated.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Japan's identity is Godzilla.
Yeah. Or Gojira. Basically, that's how it should
Gojira. Well, yeah, Gojira rather. If you're over there, you call it Gojira. You don't call it Godzilla.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you call it Gojira. You don't say Godzilla. But like I said, I saw that and I was like, okay, I got to go there. I got to go see the Kodokan, and I got to go because how many people can honestly say they've gone into Godzilla's mouth and lived to tell the tale? There it is. So,
Conroy, if she tried to use judo on me, she would get stuck trying to get me to fall.
Well, I mean, judo also has chokes, arm locks, and joint locks. So,
well, yeah, that might work, but you're also a shrimp compared to me. So,
then I'm lower than
jump on my back. That might.
Then I'm lower than your center of gravity, which means I can get under your center of gravity.
That is very true.
So it's like, so I could probably do it.
But the question is, do you want to get under my center of gravity? Because
probably not. I'm just saying. You point out my size. I'm like, well, that just means that I'm like below your center of gravity, which means I can get under your center of gravity and I can knock you off balance that way.
Somebody made that mistake because when I was in martial arts, they always taught us you adapt to your opponent. If they are small and they try to get on your back or something, fall on them.
Pretty much.
Somebody made that mistake one time, and it was just about the time that I was 290 pounds, and they were only 125 pounds.
So,
yeah.
no, you don't just fall on them. Basically, you relax, because when you relax your body, you're dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty much the equivalent of dead weight. So whenever we would pin someone else, and we'll get back into talking about the movie, but whenever we would pin someone in judo, they would always say, relax, like take a breath in, let it out, and relax your body. And they're trying to push all your weight off of them. It worked.
Yep, it does. All right, back to the movie, because if we don't, we're going to be...
We're going to be here for a while.
Metal.
Yes. So anyway, here is basically the introduction of the fairy godmother. And I love how when you first see her, she comes across as a good character.
Yeah.
Because Fiona's crying. She's upset that, this whole fight went down between Shrek and her father, because she loves her parents and she loves Shrek, and she's like, there's like, well, at least there's like the animosity between at least Shrek and her father. The mother is like, the scene after this basically says, like, basically in so many words, her reasoning for not getting upset is because she doesn't want to lose her daughter again, as she puts it. So she feels like if she pushes against Shrek, she's going to push her daughter away. So that's why she's more accepting of this whole scenario, because like they had to send her daughter away. She's not been a mother without her daughter for how many years? She's like, I'm not going to risk that. So when the king asks, like, do you expect me to basically accept Shrek, pretty much? And it's like, Fiona does. So basically, and because Fiona does, the queen does. And she's like, she says, I don't want to lose my daughter again. But in here, the fairy godmother comes off as whimsical. Fiona's crying. She's like, basically, how do I make you feel better? Sort of a situation. And she's like going through like the song, and
oh my god,
she gives life to the furniture, which is kind of like reminiscent of Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
And so, short, before she sees Shrek, what did you think of the fairy godmother? Like Jennifer Saunders' performance as the fairy godmother and the character.
When I first, because I can only go, or I have to go off of my first impression of her when I first saw the movie, it's like, oh, she seems interesting, but she still came off a little bit in a way that makes your spider sense tingle, so to speak. It's like, okay, she seems nice enough, but there's just something that's a little off. And Jennifer Saunders did a great job with it.
Yeah. Like basically, you get the feeling that, that's just surface.
Yep. Yeah.
Especially when she sees Shrek, and she says the words, when did this happen? It's like you could see in her face, she's processing.
Yeah.
Where
the
fuck up
she
could have
says
happened.
Husband.
Yeah.
She's like, the second she says husband, her head shoots up. She's like, what?
Yeah.
And that's immediately, it's like, okay, dinner or alarm bell just went off.
Yeah. And you see her processing, and where it went wrong. Where could it have possibly gone wrong? And you're wondering, why does she care? You're the fairy godmother. You're all about making her happy. So why do you care that Shrek is the one that rescued Fiona? So what we find out, I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Oh my god, I love this little bit. The mafia ride.
Yeah. I love that shot. Sorry, I'm just going to keep it on that. That pause right there.
Yeah.
They've taken the king for a little ride.
Yeah.
Not to kill him, not kill him a la mafia style, but basically to have a word with him.
Although I do like it.
Yeah,
it's like, you're gonna force me to do something. Where are we?
Yeah,
like,
that's where, like,
where
where
are
you
we?
think like that's where you think like, oh my god, like that's what the fuck, like how's she gonna
Yeah.
take him out mafia style? And it's, my diet is ruined.
It's the perfect twist for kids, you know.
Yeah,
Adults get it, but then they go that route, and it's like, oh, perfect
yeah,
transition to the kid moment, you know.
yeah. Friar's fat
Because
boy,
these
basically.
movies,
Yeah.
yeah, these movies are basically meant for adults and kids, folks. Make no
Yeah.
mistake, this is for the whole family.
Yeah, and this is how you
And it
do it
works.
well without insulting either one, basically. So
Exactly.
you have this humor leading up to it because so adults are going to be like thinking back to like mafia movies that we've seen, and things like that, and just like force me to do something I really don't want to do.
It's like,
And then like cuts to like the drive-through window.
yeah, the fat
basically.
friar or
Yeah,
Friar's fat boy or
Fat
whatever
boy.
it's called. Basically, it's oh my god, what were they? Jimmy's Fat Boy or something like that. Way
Big
back
Boy. I
when
think it's
there
like
was
the Big Boy restaurant.
Jimmy's Big
basically.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy's Big Boy, so it was Friar's Fat Boy.
yeah. So, but we find out in this scene basically that the deal essentially made, while the queen knows about like putting her daughter in the tower. The deal made between the king and the fairy godmother is that Prince Charming would be the one to rescue Fiona, so Prince Charming and Fiona would wed. Basically, this is kind of like how fairy godmother is going to get in with being related to royalty and having that power through her son. And well, Prince Charming did not get there in time. So, yeah, Godfather vibes, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And even Prince Charming in the scene, I laugh every time. He orders the equivalent of the kids' meal still. He's like, what, pushing 30? And he's like getting the medieval meal, as he calls it.
Crown. He puts a little crown on.
He puts a little crown on as he's eating his meal.
It's like, oh my god, dude, grow up.
Yeah. So that's why they kidnapped the king, to have a word with him, because of like basically of the fact that Fiona married someone else and not Prince Charming, because that was the original deal. The Charming would be the one to rescue her, and that would be basically the fairy godmother's in through her son, basically to like basically royalty and power. Oh yeah, they give him an axe with the medieval meal, basically.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Use your imagination. Throws the king the axe.
Yeah, so basically, so she's in so many words telling the king, get rid of Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of Shrek. And so, again, this is like another scene that I appreciate. Is the king sneaks out, I think that same night, to go to basically the equivalent of a dive bar in medieval times, the Poison Apple, where we meet, well, this is not exactly a big character, but I love this character, Doris, one of the ugly stepsisters. I love how they incorporate different characters into like these stories. Doris is one of the ugly stepsisters. We meet Cinderella in the third movie, but she's a bartender at the Poison Apple and voiced by Larry King. And I love how in the third one we meet the other ugly stepsister, Mabel. I just recently rewatched the third one because I wanted to watch all three.
Mm-hmm.
And Mabel is voiced by Regis Philbin.
When I keep getting more information about the third movie, I start to re-see it again. Yeah, thanks. That's actually a good thing. Yeah.
So, and I found that just fucking hilarious, basically, that Larry King and Regis Philbin voice these characters. Yeah. But and Doris does return. Yes, she does return in the third one. And we're not exactly going to get into her character in the third one, but she has more of a presence in the third one, which I do appreciate because, there's nothing bad about this character. Basically, so she's just here as a bartender in this one. And the king is trying to find someone for an ogre problem, as he calls it. And so there is an individual staying at the tavern that could deal with that problem, whom you don't see until the next scene, essentially the next part, or the villain bar scene. Yeah, so yeah, it's a decent scene in the third one. Prince Charming reminds you of Heath Ledger in a way. I didn't think
Soul
about that.
Assassin? You are excommunicado for that.
I have to think about that. Anyway.
I don't see it at all. That's just wrong, man. I mean, I don't see that ever.
Okay. Let me find out. This is the one the king hires. Puss in Boots.
In boots?
Yes. Basically, yeah, the straight puts Zorro as a cat. Which works. So basically, he's a hired hitman.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Hired by the king to take out Shrek, but fails because of a hairball.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love that. You gotta fucking love that.
A lot of people don't realize this, but the introduction to his character back at the tavern, they actually did an homage to the Never-Ending Story, because the introduction to the
wolf,
character
or what's the wolf's
of Gamork.
name? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because you always see his eyes.
Yep, his green eyes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, oh damn, they didn't bring in Gamork, did they? When I first saw the movie, but and I'm thinking, well, where's Puss yet? Because I haven't seen Puss. But then I see the stuff, or it's like, great Gamork thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said when I first saw it. It's like, Gamork. Okay, yeah. I could see that. And then it was later.
I think you mean a night. I think you're thinking about A Knight's Tale.
What was that medieval movie? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, I think Puss was my. I mean, I love Jennifer Saunders, but I think Puss was my favorite addition to the characters, and it's just because I love just Antonio Banderas' voice work for the character was just chef's kiss.
Yep.
Just chef's kiss with this character, because he's again Zorro in feline form. All right, so he's a swashbuckler. He's the romantic and so forth. But there's that humor because he's a cat. So he's when he's going after Shrek, he has to at one point he has to stop because hairball, and that's essentially what derails his attack. But this I want to see if I can pause on my favorite part of the attack. Can I do that? Okay, hold on, I gotta go back. My favorite part is time. Oh no, not that. That's another one of my favorite parts. This one right here. When he comes out like a chest
yes.
When he comes out like a chest buster.
Yep.
I love that illusion.
Yeah,
I remember when I paused it, I laughed my ass off at this part.
Yeah. That it's or when I went to the theaters that day to see this movie, everybody just freaking lost it watching that.
Yeah.
It was
that
just
little
so
chestbuster reference from the Alien movies scene. And kids are probably wondering, why is that funny? You'll get it eventually someday, kid.
When you grow
Easter
up,
eggs are great.
You'll know.
The Easter eggs are great. That's why I love the first two, because of the fact, again, they do not insult the intelligence of either adults or kids. Because kids can find something stuff funny in this movie, and adults can find other stuff funny in this movie all around. So I think most were laughing at the scene because of this.
Yeah.
I remember my dad laughed at the scene too because of this little chestbuster reference.
Yep.
And he also laughed at this part too. Hold on. Okay, so basically they just to fast forward a little bit in this scene, Shrek remembers he still has the fairy godmother's card, and he had to kind of add a teardrop to it because, like, that's what calls her to you.
Yeah.
Puss gets Donkey to cry by stepping on his hoof. Donkey, sheds a tear out of pain, which, gives an idea of where the fairy godmother resides. And I love how it's like a voicemail bubble.
You're right.
And it's like, is this on? Is this on? like
Yeah.
how an old person would be like. It's like, this on. So she gives basically the voicemail equivalent bubble, and they find out where she is. And Puss basically wants to tag along because he realizes he's misjudged Shrek. Shrek is allowed Puss to live. And so Puss is basically indebted to him. So it's he says, on my honor, I will basically stay with you until I've saved your life as you have spared me mine. Basically, so he's indebted to Shrek. And initially, they're not and Donkey doesn't want to let him. And I love my dad got a kick out of this. Because this right here is very much cat behavior. This is very much cat behavior. And the fact that Shrek is look at him in his wee little boots.
Yeah. It's technically backward, or when it comes to real cats and whatnot, because if a cat's pupils are dilated, where in this they're using him as, oh look, he's so cute.
It's you broke up there to the point where it's I couldn't hear anything you said about the dilation.
Oh, sorry. Well, basically, when you are or cats, when their eyes are dilated like that, it means they're about to pounce.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Instead, they actually in this movie they make it's oh, he's trying to basically make people drop their guard. So then
which is in a sense is still accurate too, because later on when he does that to the guards, he pounces when they are off their guard. Literally, not pun intended. But in this case, he's doing it because he's getting Shrek to take him along with them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of he's basically he in a sense is having Shrek drop his guard.
Yeah.
Not for nefarious reasons or anything like that, but just to get Shrek to take him along.
Yep.
So that's that's it. So, but but basically because it was whenever you see gifs used of Puss in Boots, it's often this shot.
Yep. Pray for mercy from Puss in Boots.
All right. Okay. And so I'm not gonna go through the whole factory scene, but I kind of get a kick out of this guy here.
Oh. Yeah.
The character's name is Jerome. We only really see him here and then as a dove later on, as a result of a little factory mishap when Shrek and Donkey and Puss are trying to escape. But I love how he has a French accent.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate how Shrek is able to get past him by claiming to be Union. Shrek, it's obvious, not just to Shrek, but the audience, that this guy does not like his boss.
Yeah. He's basically, oh, okay, got it, boss. What do you want? That's basically what it is.
Yeah. Pretty much, that's what it is. And so Shrek uses that to his advantage. This guy does not like his boss. So we're going to say we're Union.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure that it's this is up to Union standards here.
Yep. They don't even give him dental.
Yeah, no dental.
Oh.
It's okay. We're gonna both evil and benign. Yeah, so we're gonna take a look around. It's oh, by the way, I think it'd be best if the fairy godmother not know we're here. It's like sort of like wink, wink.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go right in.
Yes, yes. So that's how Shrek gets past him. Shrek goes to see the fairy godmother. And she's making a potion. We find out later what the potion is. For, basically. And when she's in her own nefarious way, is explaining to him why ogres don't live happily ever after. She's going through like basically these different fairy tales. Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel, the Golden Bird, the Little Mermaid, Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
I laughed when it ended on that.
Yeah. No ogres.
Yes, like there's all these fairy tales, and like what do they have in common? Oh, no ogres.
Yeah. And I do like how you definitely see the contrast, because she was all nice and whatnot earlier, and then when she's alone with, or when he's alone with her, she just drops all pretense.
Yeah. Yes. So it's like there's no, like, basically, like, she, whatever facade she has, she drops.
Yeah.
And this is like, yeah, this is the real her.
Mm-hmm.
So Shrek uses him. She's not going to help me. So I'm going to steal a potion.
Yep.
And this, I love how he gets through like that. Well, the workers, basically the humans, all the workers are that short.
Mm-hmm.
And no one bats an eye.
Nope.
All right. Okay, he gets through.
I mean, yeah. Working hard or hardly working, eh, Mac?
Yeah. So he gets into basically the back room where Puss finds the happily ever after potion.
Yeah.
They decide to steal it, cause a little factory mishap, which is shot at by crossbows, and they dump this out. This
transmogrifying potion.
Yes. So to help them escape, so you have these swans. Boom, swan prince and princess or princesses. I love this. Get this. Another Beauty and the Beast reference.
Yep. Cogsworth. And what's
then,
his name? Pierre.
Yeah. Lumiere.
Lumiere.
And then
yeah.
they get turned into doves.
Yep.
And they escaped. And the fairy godmother realizes that, like, what potion was taken, so she figures out she can use it to her advantage. So Shrek and Donkey take the potion. I love how, like, Puss convinces Donkey to take the potion.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't convince him. He basically tricks him into doing it.
Yep. Like, give me that bottle.
If there's any animal testing to be done, I'll do it. That's the best friend's job.
Yep.
So he drinks it. Oh, I love Puss's line. Basically, I love Puss's line. So after he's like, I don't feel different. Do I look any different? You still look like an ass.
You still look like an ass to me.
Then Shrek drinks it, and doesn't seem to like work.
I love the build up though.
Yeah. And until later on, when they pass out, and overnight, they change, and we get human Shrek. Hold on. Why it fast forwarded that far? I don't know. Human Shrek and horse Donkey. Now I have to wonder.
What does dragon look like?
Yeah, what does dragon look like? Because it affects your true love at the same time. So when Shrek became a human, Fiona turned to human form as well. All right, so she basically looks how she looked as a human. Donkey changes to a stallion.
Yeah.
What did dragon change to?
I'm guessing she's probably a stallion too. I mean, I don't know. Because they make it matching, so to speak. Human. Well, okay, if he's a horse, then she's probably a horse.
But but he was a donkey going to a horse, so it's like that makes sense. But a dragon to a horse?
Okay, well then she probably went from dragon to Godzilla. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm just saying that. I don't know.
Exactly. We don't know. We'll never
what her form was.
Yeah, hey, you're not the only one, Mara. Everybody wants to know that.
So, but we don't find that out. It's more like, they leave it up to the imagination, basically.
I mean, if I ever find the director, I'm going to be like, what did she turn into?
Yeah.
I need to know before I die, and I'm dying of cancer. So please tell me. Just to make sure I get an answer. Yes, I'm that petty, folks. Obviously.
And they need to steal clothes because Shrek's clothes don't fit him anymore because he's now a human. He's not as big.
Yeah.
Well, still, they would have come before he turned into a horse because Donkey at the beginning of the movie says that Dragon's been acting all moody.
Yep. Well, that's because, obvious reasons.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so she was pregnant already.
Yeah.
Some fucking how. But she was pregnant already, so it's not like she changed and then, became pregnant. No, she was already pregnant. So if she was already pregnant and the kids were born, what did they change into? Or did they change at all?
No, I don't think they did. It does make one wonder, though. Look at my beautiful mutant babies.
Yeah. But anyway. So they have to steal clothes. Basically, Shrek has to steal clothes. So they steal someone's clothes, go back to far, far away. But Fairy Godmother has beaten them there and traps Shrek in the room. And as Fiona is going to try to find Shrek because she hears Shrek. Let me think back. Prince Charming passes himself off as Shrek. Oh, like the girls that start gushing over Shrek. It's like, I'll be your true love. I'll be your true love. I'll be true enough.
Yeah.
So
and I'm thinking to myself, why? Yeah. But we got to get you out of these clothes. And they're like, I'm like, oh my God, really?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So basically the way the Fairy Godmother works it to her advantage is that Fiona is basically told, a spell has been performed, or that Shrek had taken a magical potion, and that's what he looks like now. So
yep.
I love how basically, Prince Charming's trying to pass himself off as Shrek, and I'm like, Fiona's not buying it.
Yeah.
Fiona's not buying it because, she even tells her father later on, that's not my husband. To the point where she says, he's completely lost his mind. Because this is what she's looking at. Oh, by the way, the father's also given another potion to give to Fiona. When Fiona drinks it, and if she kisses Prince Charming, then she'll fall in love with him, basically. So this is Fairy Godmother is very... She's the perfect villain. She's very manipulative. So she's a mama's boy for a child, so she knows she can manipulate him. He'll do anything for her. She manipulates the king because she's helped him do something, and we'll find out later. She helped him when he needed help. She also she also made a deal with him, so now she has him in her pocket because he's indebted to her.
Yep.
And it's just... And this is what we see on, they're looking at it from they find out because while Shrek, Donkey, and Puss are at the tavern, the king comes in. And the three overhear the conversation between the king and Fairy Godmother when the Fairy Godmother is giving him the potion, telling him to give it to Fiona to make her drink it and fall in love with Prince Charming. Because Fiona's not, according to the king, not warming up to Prince Charming. And to the king's credit, he initially refuses.
Yep.
Again, because he loves his daughter. Like, he does not want to make her do anything she doesn't want to do. But again, the fairy godmother has something she can hold over him,
Mm-hmm.
which he uses to basically wear him down and get him to acquiesce to it. Hold on. And let's see if I can get the tower. This is the tower scene, basically. Oh, the cop scene, basically.
Yeah.
I wish I could play this whole scene, but I can't. So if you see in the movie, you know the cops reference. Because Gingy, Pinocchio, the Three Little Pigs, Big Bad Wolf,
And Three Blind Mice.
and Three Blind Mice are watching Shrek's residence. So they're like basically watching the TV. They're watching the ball is being broadcast, and they flip over from the ball, basically the red carpet walks
Mm-hmm.
to cops, basically, and they see Shrek, horse, who sounds like donkey, and a cat get thrown into like the back. And this is the let me see if I can. I love how I'm over like the one section and it like just fast forwards all the way. I don't know how it does that. Anyway,
but yeah, it's like,
but the king doesn't like doesn't want to. Is initially like pours the potion in, and like you think he's going to give her the potion, and initially he's going to. Because again, he's afraid of the fairy godmother. But after he talks with Fiona, basically the father comes out. Because when he sees her reach for the cup that has the potion in it, he stops her by claiming it's decaf. It's like, that's mine. So he's like, whereas like, I have to respect him at least there.
yeah,
Like, he knows, deep down, he knows he's fucked by doing that.
yeah, yeah.
But he's first and foremost, he's a father.
And he takes
Right here in this scene in particular, he's a father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes precautions.
Yeah, and he also realizes that, and that's like the Fiona really genuinely loves Shrek.
Yep.
But she's saying that's not my husband.
Even, yeah, Soul Assassin. I think you're right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Like, that is blatantly a reference to OJ.
Suspect
The white Bronco reference. Yeah, that's blatantly a reference to OJ.
I also love the pepper that they ground onto his face.
Yeah, catnip. He sniffs the catnip. Like, that's not mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the whole thing is fun. Like I said, I wish I could play it.
Yeah.
But I can't play it because I wouldn't be able to play sound, and I get hit. So, but there it is. Anyway, so basically, the father realizes, Fiona genuinely loves Shrek, and he basically at that point he's basically, fuck it. Yeah, I'm basically going to get I'm gonna have the fairy godmother after me. But I don't care.
Yep.
This is my daughter. I'm her father, and he drinks the cup with the potion in it.
Yep.
So the audience knows, but the audience knows. He knows, but no one else knows.
Yeah.
I think. Oh. Say something crazy like I'm wearing ladies' underwear.
Oh, technically, this is a kaiju film, folks.
Yes, so basically they need to get to the castle, and I love. Well, he even makes kaiju noises.
Yeah.
When they get to the castle, and one of his gumdrop buttons is knocked off by one of the catapults. He literally kaiju noises from a giant gingerbread man.
Yep.
So this is how they get. I love how this is how they get to the castle. They have the Muffin Man make a giant gingerbread man. That's basically Godzilla. Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
Godzilla. I would like to
Yeah.
play it, but I would get hit by playing the sound. But it's basically Godzilla. It's a kaiju sound.
Yep.
So that's how they get to the castle, and like there's an ET reference there as well. Be good.
Yeah.
So I love like a lot of references. Oh, he has. Okay, I stop it on one part, and like.
Yeah, that is like the most unflattering part you stopped it on.
Yeah.
His
basically,
arm
like,
just looked wrong.
Yeah. But basically, again, someone pointed out earlier, you have Prince Charming even wearing cherry flavored lip gloss.
Yeah. I swear I wanted to stab that man after that.
I'm like saying, like I said, like you love to hate him. Like he is like so like
Yeah.
just basically. Like, but you love to hate him. Like, and that's why he's trying to get her to kiss him, because he's in on the little potion deal like thing. Hey guy. So that's how he's trying to get her to kiss him. She won't do it. Then the fairy godmother does what most people remember from this movie, which is actually Jennifer Saunders singing, and that is her rendition of I Need a Hero. I still prefer the original version, but I do like Jennifer Saunders' version as well. So it's basically like, she's dedicating a song to, as she calls it, Prince Shrek, Prince Charming, and Princess Fiona, and getting them to dance. And as they're dancing, Prince Charming is trying to get Fiona to kiss him. Fiona, I love how Fiona gets like, it's like avoids it. So at one point he drops a flower, she picks it up, puts it in her mouth because she doesn't want to kiss him.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole scenario is like Shrek and Donkey and Puss and the others basically getting into the castle to stop the kiss.
And Puss in Boots does his little last stand moment, which was nice.
Yeah. Why is it fast forward that far? Anyway, like this, like he does this. Like I said, like it's still like he still pounces here.
Yep.
So he's getting them off their guard, proverbially, or no pun intended, because they are guards.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch, boom, he strikes.
Yeah.
So I love that. Where it's like he used it to drop Shrek's guard earlier, not to attack him, but just to get him to take him with him, and then he used it again here to get the guards to drop their guard, so to speak, so he can attack them. So in a way, it's still in line with when their pupils dilate, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But done in a way that makes Puss smart.
Yeah.
So he uses it to his advantage.
Yep.
So it's still in character. It's still very much in character. Yeah, that's why everyone fell in love with Puss. Pretty much one of the reasons why everyone fell in love with Puss. That, in fact, and Antonio Banderas' voice acting was just chef's kiss for this character. Like the Puss, again, I love Fairy Godmother. I love the King and Queen. I do like Prince Charming. I like the voice acting all around for the new characters, but really Puss was the chef's kiss edition character in this movie. Because at one point, I skipped over where it's like Fiona exits the castle and she sees a horse. The horse sounds like Donkey, and she's like, Donkey? And Donkey's explaining to her how they took a potion and how they're sexy now, basically. And she looks on the back of Donkey to see Puss licking himself.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Shrek? For you, baby? I could be.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, so.
Yeah.
He gets Flying Peacock. There it is.
Yeah.
And they basically, long story short, they get the wand away from Fairy Godmother, but Fairy Godmother gets Prince Charming to kiss Fiona, thinking that Fiona's taking the potion, but on. Why does it fast forward that fucking far? I hate this.
Adapt.
All
there
right.
we go.
I want to like see like this.
Yeah, right here.
That's what Fiona does right here.
Yeah.
So like basically, I love how like that's she didn't take the potion. She was able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's like when Fairy Godmother confronts the king, and King's like, well, I guess I gave her the wrong tea. So Fairy Godmother gets her wand back, attacks Shrek, but the king dives in front of them to protect Shrek because he loves his daughter, and he loves his daughter. His daughter loves Shrek, so he's going to protect Shrek, and it bounces off his armor. Hits the Fairy Godmother. Now, I wonder if this is like her, her true form, because we see what the effect it has on the king later, because she changes basically to Bubbles.
Yeah, she's like, oh, ha! It's
Yeah.
like, oh shit. Yeah.
And she's gone.
Yeah.
And she's gone. And we find out.
He croaked.
Yeah, it croaked. Basically, that the reason why the Fairy Godmother had a control over the king is because he used to be a frog.
He was
So when the Fairy Godmother earlier said that she gave him his happily ever after, and she could take it away just easily, this is what she meant.
Mm-hmm.
So Harold, as a frog, fell in love with Lillian, sorry.
Yeah.
Lillian as a and was turned into a human by the Fairy Godmother. So he had his own curse, basically. And like Donkey kind of points it out, like he gave you a hard time. It's like,
yeah, it's like Donkey. No, he's right.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, in the third movie, it's a ye old footlocker box.
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, the king passes away in the third movie.
Yeah.
But that's where we find out that the reason why Fairy Godmother had control over him, why she had a little hold on
The king.
On the king, basically.
Harold.
So.
Yep.
And basically, it ends happily ever after, literally because Fiona chooses to not kiss Shrek at midnight because, well, she wants the ogre she fell in love with.
Yep. And Donkey goes back to normal. It's like, hey, man, you still look like a Knoll steed.
Yeah. So basically, they do effectively live happily ever after. And this is the end is the other thing that people remember is that performance of Antonio Banderas and Eddie Murphy as opposed to Donkey singing "Livin' La Vida Loca."
Not the best choice, but hey, I would have gone with something a little different.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
So, and everyone's happy. Basically, the title I put on the quote I put on the thumbnail is what the Fairy Godmother tries to manipulate Shrek with, that ogres do not live happily ever after. And then, how's the movie end? With them living happily ever after.
Yeah.
And we see Doris. We see Doris submit, try to kiss Prince Charming, basically. Which is basically the plausibility of why she's still in far, far away. In the third movie, is that she's chosen to stay there, basically, because third movie, spoiler alert, it's stated that she's no longer welcome at the Poison Apple Tavern, and that's probably because she decided to stay far, far away, and basically hobnob with the upper crust, basically. What I appreciate in the third movie is that while she's the ugly stepsister, she's not shunned. Because she's at the baby shower for Fiona, so it's she's not she's kind of judged for her appearance, but at the same time she's not shunned, so she's kind of in a semi accepted. Yeah, but we're not going to talk about the third movie. We're only talking about ones and twos, and that is
there is the stinger at the end though, which is
Which is like what we
They
find
come
out
in
the reason
with
why she was
dragon.
mooted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come
And
on.
the mutant babies.
Come on. Why is this not wanting to cancel, you fucker? Oh, it's like over it and it's not showing. Okay. Peacock is like fucking broken right now.
Pretty
Oh, there
much.
it is.
There we go.
Okay. So we find out the reason
She's
why
coming
she was
in.
acting moody is because, well, she was pregnant and she
Mutant
popped out 5
babies.
mutant babies.
Yeah.
How?
Donkeys that breathe fire.
Yeah, how?
Do you really want to know how, Mara? I could
not
explain
really,
it, but I don't think you want to.
I'm like, but at the same time, it's like the size difference.
I mean, she may not feel anything, but at least he gets the job done.
How does he not risk falling, like getting sucked in?
I ain't gonna
I'm just
show
saying.
shit, man. I can explain it, but I'm not gonna show it. Why the fuck would I want to show something like that? How could I show something like that? It's called a biology lesson. Look it up, Gravy.
Well, compared to a dragon, the size of the dragon, they're not that well endowed.
True.
But anyway, when we find out why Dragon was all moody, because she was pregnant, basically. She was pregnant.
Fairy tale.
Now Donkey's a father. And he ends with,
Yeah.
like, I gotta get a job.
Right.
So that's what we find out. That's a little stinger at the end.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Shrek 2, basically. So that's, again, like, the natural progression in Shrek's story. First movie, rescues princess, falls in love with her, gets married, basically. Second movie, meets the in-laws, lives happily ever after. Or at least he thinks he's, like, happily ever after. Then the third movie, finding out he's going to be a father. So, like, a little, basically, full circle for Shrek's story, which is why to have him want to go back to being, like, feared as an ogre in the fourth movie make absolutely no sense, because he was all about not liking the fact he was judged as an ogre in the first movie.
Yeah.
Which just, again, did not make any sense. That's why it's like, it's like stop at, like, for me, stop at 3.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I'm not, like, 3 is, I think, a downgrade from the first 2, but it's not that much of a downgrade as the fourth one from the first 2.
The fourth one basically went with the whole trope of you don't really know what you lost until it's gone. But the problem is it just doesn't fit with Shrek.
No, it doesn't fit with Shrek. Now, I get they were kind of going with It's a Wonderful Life feel, essentially, where it's like, it's because it's, what Rumpelstiltskin does. Like, if you've seen A Wonderful Life, the angel Clarence, makes it so, like, that George Bailey was never born, and to make George realize how important he is to the people around him, basically not just his family, but the people around him. But it's kind of what Rumpelstiltskin does, not for good purposes, for evil purposes. I get that's what they were going with. But at the same time, it's like the reason Shrek makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
For making that wish in the first place. Now, if Rumpelstiltskin tricked him, which still kind of would not be in line with Shrek's character, but if Rumpelstiltskin at least solely tricked him, and no wish on Shrek's part for that, okay, I could maybe, like, see that. Because that was, like, full-on manipulation from Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
But to have Shrek want that initially, or to feel that way, it made no sense.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, so thank you, everyone. Probably, I'm gonna let Orange Hat do, like, his outro, and then I'll go into mine. And then, like I said, like, right now, the 1s and 2s and the singles are up in the air. I'm fully willing, if your schedule doesn't allow it, I'm fully willing to skip next month for those streams. But you let me know. But anyway, go into your outro, and I'll go into mine.
It's not a sword, it's a cane, metal. But yeah, Sunday night recap or weekly recap on my channel at 8 p.m. No uncensored. You can find me on let's see here. April is chaotic, so I don't know what we're gonna do. I believe we already done Rambo 1 and 2.
No, we did Rocky
But
1 and 2,
yeah.
but not Rambo 1 and 2.
Well, maybe that might be for good for May. Who knows? But other than that, folks, I'm trying to reach 2,000 subs. So if you can help out with that, I appreciate it. And yeah, that's basically all that's going on. April is too chaotic to really tell you anything definitive, folks.
All right, as I said, it's
No.
so it's not exactly trying to put it entirely on Orange Chat, basically, but it's like our schedule, like the schedules do not align. Like I said, might have to skip ones and twos and singles for April, and I will compensate at least on my end with either like a second reading stream during the week or another gaming stream during the week. For those weeks, we would normally be doing the ones and twos because April has 5 Wednesdays and so forth, so I'd be doing an extra one anyway 1 week. But we'll let you all know. We'll let you know. I have ideas for movies just in case, because the theme is like ass kicking April. But we'll let you know. We'll let you know what to kind of expect. But anyway, tomorrow probably no stream. Tomorrow evenings, I don't think my schedule will allow for it, but hopefully. Well, let me check May. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. May 1, 2, 3, 4. No, May has 4 Wednesdays. April has 5. April has 5 Wednesdays because the 2nd of April is a Wednesday and then the 30th is a Wednesday. So, but like I said, I think like next ones with 5 weeks is July. Or 5 Wednesdays is July. So April then July be the next 2 months at least for like 5 Wednesdays. But anyway, probably no stream tomorrow. I'm hoping for a stream Friday. I'm going to message Cowman. I'm going to tell him it's really up in the fucking air. But I'm hoping to finally play Resident Evil 5 Friday evening. So fingers crossed I'm able to do it. Saturday, I hope to do an afternoon gaming stream Saturday afternoon. Then Saturday evening, doing a watch party of Snow White: A Tale of Terror. That like the good twist, or at least a decent twist on the Snow White tale that I suggest to people. Then Sunday, Talk Nerdy to Us will be on my channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern that I do with my nerdy home, where we talk about basically nerdy topics, pop culture topics, and so forth. And it looks like we'll be talking more of Rachel Zegler because an article has come out where it's like apparently she was yelled at by one of the I think producers or studio executives, about what her running her little mouth that and how it hurt the film.
Yeah, she was warned. Or this, I did a video on that a few months ago. That's actually my best video, but now they're actually giving more, or they're actually talking about the repercussions of what happened because she was warned and she didn't listen.
Yeah. So I'm mostly going to be talking about that, among other topics, Sunday evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. So again, probably no stream tomorrow. Maybe if I do a stream, maybe I'll do a little stream where I do a reaction to the Final Destination trailer that dropped today, Final Destination Bloodline. So maybe, but chances are no. Friday, hoping for a gaming stream. Saturday, hoping for a gaming stream and a watch party. And Sunday, Talk Nerdy to Us on my channel. But anyway, take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all, if not tomorrow, then definitely by Friday. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.